Welcome back to my channel. This is a reading for the month of September 2023, or whenever you find this. Take it as it resonates. I don't feel that everybody is making decisions on the same date and so forth, so of course the energy may play out a little further. Some of you may have just gone through this energy, others are just moving into this energy. But the main card's out for the month of September. This is just also another layering or another aspect for some of you to the month as well. So it doesn't mean there's just one specific energy that's coming in. There's going to be different weeks where you feel like you're a little more resonating with a certain aspect of a reading versus another. So anyway, getting right into it. I'll go through it generally here, and then I'll go through it more specifically. So when we look at the Hermit, of course, that is all around a pulling back energy. It's something that you're taking some time out to sort of contemplate in the month of September. So I feel like this is an energy of really trying to almost get to know yourself, or get to know an idea, or really kind of just get in touch with something here anyway. But again, we're just going through it generally, and then we'll go through more specifically with the clarifiers. But overall, the Hermit energy does speak to sort of pulling back and not really acting on anything, more trying to solve some problems, trying to really reflect on your life. But again, it's kind of a temporary energy, but you're sort of lost in yourself at this point. And I do say that because we also have this card with the Seven of Cups. Granted, it is a clarifier, but it is the clarifier to the High Priestess, and that is all that energy around being a little more... being a little more withdrawn, a little bit, secretive, that kind of thing. So I feel like that's kind of where the journey is for you in the month of September. There's a lot of contemplation and a lot of maybe deep meditation, things like that, where I think you're just trying to spend some time alone to make some decisions and assess things at this point. I feel like you might be actually by yourself for the most part here in the month of September, but I still feel like this doesn't necessarily mean that you're isolating, but it definitely feels as though there is some layers to you this month, because you're trying to, redefine beliefs and kind of get into that space of making decisions about how to go forward. So you don't want to fall back into any old patterns here. Everything looks like it's a very contemplative space. Even right next to the Seven of Pentacles, there's not a lot of action in this this area of the read. So again, maybe this is more specific to one week over another, but currently, whatever this energy is, it just feels like it's more of a quiet stillness that's going through you. And there's a lot of areas of contemplation, like I said. So you're really seeking something here, and you're really trying to kind of integrate maybe some lessons or integrate some aspects of yourself. So when we get to the twos, and I should just mention the major arcana, of course, is the Hermit as well as the High Priestess. And further out, this is just more of a clarifier really to the High Priestess about what was hidden, but it seems to be that it's around your foundation. It definitely isn't around the home front. Somehow that aspect is very much a part of your money. I'm not seeing a lot of, new jobs or anything like that coming in here. I feel like this is really you contemplating your next moves in terms of finance, and how to earn extra money, that kind of thing. So, like I said, even the Two of Swords, I mean, this is all about really taking the time to kind of separate yourself, but it's also that space of, I need to figure some things out. I need to redefine my landscape. I really need to do some intense search here. And, the owl is representing that enlightened perception here as well. So you really want to make good use of this time. And I feel like that's what you're doing, about making some kind of a decision that's very important to you. And you're digging deep to really figure this out. So again, I feel like this is also research energy. This is not just about making a decision. I feel like you're trying to make, a really make some choices here in this period. So we also get to like I said, the Seven of Pentacles. So I feel like this is that space of really making use of the things that you've already started, the projects or things that have come to your mind that you really were considering finishing, but you're not in that stage of finishing yet. So you're not at the finish line, but it's all the projects, the things that you've been putting on hold. It's all those things that you're really trying to line up and try to make some decisions on, to enact, or finish or put some time and energy into. So you are really quite focused, I would say, in the period of September, but there just seems to be a lot of you pulling back to figure out your next step. When we get to, again, that High Priestess, that's a major arcana, and that definitely speaks to that energy of really, really winding it down, but also kind of looking into the things that mesmerized you, something that was fascinating to you. What are the things that, you were intrigued by? This is what I feel like you're kind of exploring, all the things that may have been hidden or you weren't really paying attention to. And so you're trying to bring it to the forefront, I would say here, and, really connect to it is what I think is happening here. It's more of a connection to the things that, were sort of at the recesses of your mind. So it's a reconnection possibly to these things, but either way, it seems like there's a fair amount of decision making, or at least contemplation about all of it's more than one project here. It's more than one thing. That Seven of Cups does speak to many choices. It does speak to a lot of options, and there might be a certain element of confusion here because you're not, maybe you are feeling a little bit overwhelmed, but I think for the most part it's more of a decisive energy. So whether there was a sense of being overwhelmed, I feel like you're kind of putting some order and some time and energy into really figuring out what the best possibilities are here, because you are wanting to take some kind of an action. There's just too much energy around really focusing on something and focusing on your happiness, especially when we get to the Ten of Cups. So, I mean, this is really important to you. You're really trying to find some level of happiness, and this could be around family, because I do have the Ten of Cups card. I do have the Four of Wands. So whatever family is for you, or whatever that significant foundational energy is for you in terms of your finances, I feel like you want more of a supportive kind of energy here, because this is all about connecting with the Ten of Cups and the Four of Wands, and it seems to be around the home front space. So like I said, I feel like you want to enjoy or share in this excitement, or share in some kind of happier times, is what I feel like you want to do, is you want to create some happier times or something here. The Queen of Cups, I feel, represents you, so it could be also indicative of a water sign, Cancer, Pisces, Scorpio. But I mean, this is definitely somebody who is very nurturing aspects that are coming through here. Even though I feel that this is representing you, I still feel like you are coming off a little bit more distant, as I said, because of all the other surrounding cards here that kind of speak to just really a little more closed off around your due to the fact that, as I said, I feel like you're contemplating your next steps. With the Page of Wands, I mean, this is a card of trying to figure out your next moves. I mean, this is more of the clarifier. It is, someone who wants to do something a little more hands-on based on experience. So this is definitely about being in that space of focusing on completing something. This is what you're trying to do. You're trying to wrap something up. It's not a very charismatic energy. I feel like it's very humble, understated energy here. And like I said, the Queen of Cups is still that energy of, kind of pulling back, like I said, not really in a space of wanting to share a lot of your reserve or yourself right at this time. I mean, it's not to say you don't want the connections. I feel like you want the connections, but it feels like you're just not in that space yet with that Two of Swords, because there's too much energy around trying to figure out something here. You're trying to figure out something. And again, it seems to be around emotional happiness. Of course, there is a lot of energy coming in here in terms of, with this card that speaks to, being more open to things and trying to find the right choices that are based around your heart or your passions, or things that, are more along the lines of what's best for you. But it is an intuitive card as well. So, and I feel even more so a lot of intuitive energy coming in here, not just because of that Queen of Cups, but also the Hermit and the High Priestess as well. So when we get into kind of backtracking here a little bit, well, anyway, the Four of Wands, we'll get into that here as well, and that's more specific to the High Priestess. But just to kind of, you know, overlay some of the cards into this final grouping, like I said, we are still dealing with, the main energy is, you know, trying to figure something out. So I feel like you might be sort of hiding maybe your true passions or your true ambitions at this time, because you're trying to come to some sense of direction. You know, I mean, there is a sense of procrastination, or at least holding back, because you're trying to figure out how to move forward. So there's like some kind of pending decision, some kind of upcoming decision that you're trying to figure out. Like I said, this is that energy of getting there, but not quite in that space yet. Page of Wands. Again, it's still that beginning stage energy, but it's still not ready to walk through the door or anything. You're moving in the direction. It does speak to some good news as well in terms of information that's coming through here. But you can also expect your projects and your new ideas, all of that, to actually go forward in a positive way. So again, you're sort of assessing where you're at before you kind of enter into this energy, but it definitely speaks to, you know, some kind of a happy process anyway. So it makes you happy to sort of figure out this, you know, to contemplate this direction. And I feel like you're leading up to what's, you know, with this energy here with the Four of Wands. You know, you want to be happy, you want to be free, you want some kind of something returned to you in around the family front, or something around, you know, some kind of happy ending, something along that line. Like I said, it feels like there's still some aspects that are hidden here, that you're probably still trying to work through. But of course, this is still a major energy. Anything with the High Priestess is definitely a wise energy as well, but it's still in that range of kind of all of the queens wrapped together. And you know, it's a lot of lessons that have been learned here, I would say, with this card, because the Hermit is taking the time to contemplate things. This is somebody who's really, you know, making choices that are based on, and this could even be around, you know, taking the time to write, study, anything like that, because this is creative energy here. But you're trying to deeply understand something either way. And I feel like you're trying to figure out some kind of path that you've been a little stymied with. And I feel like you weren't able to, you've been stuck. There's a feeling of being stuck. There is also, with that High Priestess, that energy coming through that things will connect when the time is right. There are secrets that are still yet to be revealed, and I feel like this is also you tapping into the privacy of your own world, as well as that spiritual calling and things that you're trying to connect in terms of your intuition. So again, you may be keeping some secrets here because you're trying to consider your options, but it's also, you know, for your own learning. But it definitely speaks to you valuing your privacy overall in this space. So when we get right into I guess we'll go right into, because that's the main energies out. Like I said, the Hermit and the pulled back energy of the High Priestess. Everything else is just sort of the steps forward to kind of, you know, move things along, but not quite in any dramatic way. When we get to, like I said, the Four of Wands, that is still in that space of really needing or wanting some kind of happy ending. We've got the Six of Wands. So, I mean, the Six of Wands is a victory card, of course, but it also feels to me like there could be some success in a familial situation where, you know, you feel like you've been through a lot of tests, because this is a card of victory. So I feel like there's a lot of tests that have happened around the family front or the home front, or something around your foundation for sure. But there's been a lot of areas here where you've had to actually really examine, maybe protect. You know, you've been challenged in this area. And I say that because we also have the clarifier of the Seven of Swords. And there is a couple of swords here, like I said, that are pretty significant ones. Granted, they're not major arcana, but I mean, they're still, allowing or bringing in energy around feeling very insecure about, because you've had to protect the family front. You've had to protect the foundation. You've really had to go to battle to, and this is probably quite wearing, but whether there has been dishonest behavior or anything like that, or maybe you have felt like that you've been a victim in a situation here, seems to be all around the family front. Now, the Queen of Wands, like I said, it's still that energy of somebody who could be a Leo energy that's relevant here as well. Cancer, Pisces, Scorpio, also pretty significant, I would say. But the Queen of Wands is that, confidence, and somebody who is quite expressive, and she's able to communicate her ideas and get, projects underway. So I feel like you've really done a lot of that. You really acted on a lot of things. There could have also been, because there's a king and the granted, this is secondary energy, but the King and Queen of Wands is still in around, I would say, even a coupleship where there has been some difficulty. And again, this is air sign energy, I would say, that's quite relevant also in the coupleship or in this partnership. But the King of Wands is definitely confidence and leadership. So, whether there's been ideas or new people or this coupleship that's been relevant, there's also been some kind of water sign. There's a lot of cards of people in this. So the King of Cups, again, that's still in around, somebody who's trying to control their emotions, somebody who's, really... maybe there's been a lot of secrecy because it's real close to the High Priestess. Maybe there has been a lot of cut off energy in terms of a connection or the emotions and those kinds of things. But it's like one person's been very communicative and expressive, and the other person's been, very withdrawn. And, even when I see the King of Cups here, next to the King of Wands, Queen of Wands, it's like there's a lot of people that have entered into this. So these are very strong energies. Like I said, the King of Cups is somebody who is usually quite in control of their emotions, could be a mature father figure sort of type as well, but it definitely speaks to someone that, could be coming in here to help, that's, resolving differences, something like that, or as a support. So we get right into the King of Swords. This is also Libra, Gemini energy. But the King of Swords, again, there's a lot of that, a lot of varied energies. There's a lot of people in this energy for the month of September. But this is still around ambition and, making some decisions. And this could be some legal decisions. But usually when I usually see Justice card that's kind of out on that. But so in this case, it could be just dealing with contracts or things around words and mindset. But there is some level of expansion here with the Three of Swords. So there's maybe some delays here, again, because we've got the Seven of Pentacles as well as that Three of Wands. But whatever this is, it's advancing it from some stage of, just walking through the door. I mean, you've got the Page of Wands over here. That's just kind of coming up with, aces would be sort of coming up with the ideas. Pages is sort of, mulling it around. It's still in the mindset, but there's some action or there's some kind of inspiration, some kind of forward movement. But then when we get to sort of the Three of Wands, this is where you're actually maybe even possibly coming in with some kind of a direction to travel. I don't know that it's specifically travel as in car travel or plane travel or whatever, because I usually see other cards, but it's maybe some ambition to express yourself, and this is a journey up ahead here that is going to allow for some advancement in travel, kind of metaphorically, advancement. But I do feel like it would be broadening things in so far as your creativity, but somehow some kind of element of travel is still here for me, and I don't know why. Okay, so this, again, these were the clarifiers that went with the High Priestess. So I'm just going to kind of wrap this up a little bit, and I'll just put these back here. So again, it feels like there's a lot of people in the month of September that seem to be relevant. Water signs, air signs, for sure. Not seeing a lot of concrete sort of energy yet, but certainly a lot of kind of, thought energy anyway. So in terms of your finances, I feel like nothing is really, I mean, there might be something here as far as the Seven of Pentacles that's coming in that kind of brings you into a space of um, brings you into a space of happiness around money. And I say that because there is something here that maybe this is something that you've been contemplating in terms of money that is, something that's you're wanting to advance here. Or purchase or something that's making you happy, but it's maybe a purchase that you've sat and contemplated, uh, you know, before you purchased it. It could be even something like that here too. And it could be something that's going into the home front, like I say. But either way, take it as it resonates. So again, when we get back to that 10 of Cups and that 7 of Pentacles, that is a very positive energy there. So it does speak to some deep fulfillment around some kind of emotional bond. And it seems to be, again, around family or some kind of happiness or even a gathering of sorts. But there is still a period of waiting and being patient before, you really reach this level of happiness as well. So there might be sort of a taste of it coming in for the month of September, but there's going to be something further out that will bear more fruit, but that's, down the road here. But it is going to give you a deep sense of contentment and satisfaction, all of that. So, but you have to wait for it. So there's also, like I said, I feel like you might be surrounded by loved ones here, and that may be why there's so many people here in this particular read. But it does definitely speak to, a lot more nurturing kind of relationships, even though there's still that pullback energy. So it's almost like knowing something is coming or knowing something is going into a space of joy or love or happiness, but it's just not yet visible, almost, is kind of what I would say there. When we get to that high priestess, and of course that's where things are still hidden, so things are not being quite revealed here, but it is still speaking to a lot of that connection to spirituality and trying to embody, figuring out yourself and kind of getting lost in your fantasies here as well with the 7 of Cups. But it's almost like you need to be in that space, because something about being overly practical in whatever week this relates to or whatever part of the month this relates to, it's almost like this is a space where you need to kind of release or decompress and kind of look at the meaning of life and what it means to you. So I feel like you're trying to get in a lot of information, and you have to kind of look beyond the surface, with the high priestess and able to figure that out. So I feel like you're just kind of playing with some of the options here and, and figuring out your choices. I don't feel like it's, you being lost in fantasy to your detriment. It's being lost in fantasy to kind of release some of the pressure, I would say, about making decisions. And it's almost like, because the information is incomplete here, I feel like you're trying to figure out, based on what your inner intuition is telling you, and you're just trying to sort of guide yourself through that. In terms of financial decisions, I would say it's more of a cautious energy and really look at the small print, that kind of thing. It feels like there could be, like I said, more decision making that's required before you're not ready to make a decision. That's what I'm trying to say here. It's more of that careful evaluation, all of that, before you make any kind of decision on an option. You really want to focus on what matters here. So this is, again, where you're trying to merge everything together, and you're doing it in a very wise way. So when we get back into that 4 of Wands, and because it is so closely positioned beside the high priestess, my feeling is that this is about, hidden knowledge, like I said earlier, where you're still contemplating what's below the surface and trying to bring it to the surface, because you need that time before you can make the right action on something or take the right action. And so this is almost a milestone of sorts that kind of comes in here. And I don't know if this is coming in quite in the month of September, because this is more of a clarifier, but it's certainly not too far off. So I feel like this is something that is going to allow you to enjoy, the connections, or enjoy an accomplishment, enjoy the moment, and you're grateful for this. And it seems like this is where you're able to, there's a little bit of a harmonious situation going on here. And like I said, it seems like it could be more celebration oriented, and it definitely speaks to a moment where you are feeling a lot more pleasure or joy, or something gives you some happiness in this period anyway. So I'll just kind of finish this off here in a couple of ways here. When we get to the Queen of Cups, like I said, with that Two of Swords, that is still where, your intuition is quite heightened in this period, because we also have that High Priestess, and you're just, a lot of contemplation, deep, deep energy here. But when we get down to the Queen of Cups, like I said, this is where you're trying to take care of yourself, your emotional needs, be an emotional support for yourself, that kind of thing. I do feel like there is some decision around you that you're trying to come up with, that's in around your emotional space. And again, you're stepping back to get in, to figure this out. So this is still where there's a combination of choices about how you want to, nurture yourself. There's a lot of people still in here, like I said, but I just feel like this could be some kind of conflicting emotion or conflicting choice here as well. Um, but it still ends up on a harmonious basis. Like, it still ends up on another level. It's more positive, because there's too much wise thinking here, wise decision making, and that's how I feel you balance this out. So it's very encouraging energy, despite you feeling, pulled back from any kind of solution. But you will find a solution, and it is going to come from your inner self. Like, it'll come from a deeper place. I don't know that I necessarily see it as education or anything like that at this point, even though there might be some research or might be some information, but it feels like there has been some denial of your own nurturing to self, that kind of thing here, or, to, divide you from your own happiness, or the things that make you happy. It's almost like that has been sort of held back in some way here. But like I said, either way, it seems like it ends on a very balanced note. It does end up with some very positive energy here. So like I said, we'll kind of just the last little bit that I'll kind of get into just to tie it up. And again, I did go through all these clarifiers at the end, so I don't know that I'll go through a whole bunch more there. I did also post some other cards, which were the fortune reading cards, so I might go into those here too. Maybe I'll do that in a separate read here. But again, like I said, just to shorten it up and kind of tie everything up, the Two of Swords is representing some kind of a decision. It does indicate that there is some kind of reflection around your personal beliefs or about your life, or something here that, has been kind of a defensive energy that's been around your own needs, I would say, or around nurturing, that kind of thing. I feel like this is still around, you may have had it has a pullback energy where I feel like you've had to sort of peel yourself away a little bit emotionally, or distance yourself in some way, with that Two of Swords next to the, and again, still kind of around all this contemplation. So it's almost like you've had to pull yourself way back here to sort of deal with something. The High Priestess, of course, is still encouraging creative solutions and problems, that are coming to you. There are definitely alternatives that are coming in for this period for you to create a solution that's available to you. I do feel like you are in retreat from social situations, although it's still something that may be coming in here, albeit on some, I don't know if it's further out here, because these are the clarifiers that are further out, and the main energy is all around the space of, trying to figure out something that you haven't quite decided on. You're still figuring out your viable options, that kind of thing. Whatever your current position is here, there might be two different directions that you're choosing to go, or more than one, I would say, even because of the Seven of Cups. I still feel like this is that space, like I said, where you are. Just going to put my light on here, guys. Hold on one sec. But it definitely still feels like, because we have that, the Seven of Cups here, like I said, I mean, that is still around a lot of reflection, but it's also around emotional needs and to persevere with, trying to find your purpose in life, that kind of thing. It's about coming to terms with yourself and your direction as well, because you're still in this bringing things to the surface. It is about reflection on a lot of these cards. So like I said, I feel like you are trying to explore suitable careers for you, the type of things that you might enjoy, habits or hobbies, anything that's kind of spiritually nourishing for you as well. You definitely are searching for some kind of inner peace and fulfillment. Absolutely. I feel like you are trying to establish here as well, how to give back more or get more around family, or around foundation, or around your personal happiness. Like I said, I do see a lot of emotional happiness coming in here, and I don't know, again, these are the clarifiers, so you may not be quite in this energy in September, but it's super close, and certainly for some of you, you may be moving into this. But it definitely shows that there is a lot of self-confidence that will come out of this space of really reflecting on the subconscious, basically, and trying to figure out how to move on your personal quest and figure out yourself, really. So again, you're still examining the landscape. You're still in that space of relying on spirituality, doing a lot of reflection, even maybe considering a lot of your friendships as well. Maybe that's why I see so many people in this reading, but it definitely speaks to a lot of family life being the highlight, and your foundation is certainly among that as well. But you're definitely looking for different sources of fulfillment with that particular card here. Even though we were kind of back here with the Four of Wands, with the conquering energy, the Six of Wands, feeling like you've had to fight some battles around the home front or for the home front. Even when I get to the Seven of Swords, I mean, this is suggesting new problem or new energy toward figuring out problems here as well. So whether there was some clear communication issues, definitely there was possibly some hidden agendas, just because of the connections here. But I feel like it's not a time for you to give up on any personal goals, absolutely, because you have a lot of things you're trying to consider here. And again, this energy of the Seven of Swords is sort of the background energy, but it definitely is creating some solutions that will come to light. And I do feel as well that this is, that card of don't rule out, some other strategy. There might be an alternative approach here. There might be involving other people here as well, although I don't know. There could have been some of this coupleship or whatever, this partnership might have resulted in something that was, a battle, and certainly a strategy that was too tactical, and maybe was something that kind of threw you a curveball. But I still feel like you're in a place of restructuring either way. And then when we get to that Queen of Wands, like I said, there's all this energy here, even with the Seven of Pentacles, like I said, that, does speak to there being some reward at the end of the rainbow here. There will be a rainbow. This is about really setting up yourself for financial well-being or wealth. And certainly it's about, you just need to be a lot more vigilant until you get there, until that success is achieved. It's really about considering your options, your connections. You're really in a deep space here to figure out how to manage your skills. It's like you're taking on everything, and trying to do more of a long-term plan is what I would say here. And then when we get to, because this is all about responsible energy here as well. So, like I said, when you spend this much time thinking about something, it's intuitive, it's emotional, you're really connected to it. I feel like this is a creative energy for sure, and it's sensitive. You're very sensitive to feelings, and you might be heightened sense of, like I said, awareness to figuring out how to really, like, all of your senses are brought to the forefront here to figure out how to get past something. So there's also that energy here that kind of speaks to, like I said, even when we look at the High Priestess, this is still, goals that you're trying to establish based on reflection, like I mentioned, because we're tying it all together. It definitely speaks to, kind of prying through the subconscious and getting into your own inner knowledge, but you're having to resolve some deeper issues and able to kind of get to this level of happiness. So it's almost like there's been some things that have been in the way that I don't see walking away from things and all of that, but it's almost like you're just approaching things in a way that kind of streamlines things, because you're looking for personal happiness for sure. And I feel like this is very encouraging energy, friends and family around, that kind of thing, or a lot of people in this reading anyway. But it does definitely still signifies you stepping back either way. There's a lot of things still in that conceptual stage here, so I don't feel like you are ready to jump into any particular action yet. This might be something that's going to draw out a little further as well, just because it's such deep energy and it's a really deep creative sort of space, but it's very, very intuitive. It's very, very reflective, and there's a lot of heightened sensitivity even around your emotions and what makes you happy. So anyway, that's what I have here for you guys. That's what is the main energy that's coming in. I was going to read the fortune reading cards, but I think I'll do that at a later time just because this has already gone on to 34 minutes or so. So anyway, that's what I have. And again, still feels like there's a big partnership, as well as a lot of people here, Libra energy, but there's advancement, there's growth. There's definitely been some lessons learned. It's almost like I'm not seeing a lot of healing energy specifically in this read, but I definitely feel like there is some advancement in terms of how you go forward with all of these people. So there is some kind of advancement, there is growth. And again, it feels like it's really been a bit of a strategy to get there. That's what I have for you, Libra, for the month of September. And again, this is just one aspect of many that might be coming through here for the month of September. But keep moving forward. Like I said, this energy is becoming more and more positive as we go along. So like I said, even if there is a little bit of a disconnect in the beginning, probably parts of September, I feel like over time here, you're going to start to see that things start to open up. And again, this is the energy that's coming in. You're just touching on it right now and around your finances. Something is going to make you happy, but there is still some things yet to be revealed further out. And that is worth listening for. Keep moving forward. Never give up.